Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Quranic Connection TV. I'm Abdul Shahid, and in today's episode we're talking about an Islamic perspective on time management. Now, the reason we're talking about time management is because I've spent so many years, and so many of us, we're constantly in that race, in that rat race of life, juggling all the different responsibilities, all of those things: work, family, social, community, your own personal stuff. You're juggling all these things, and often some of the things that we really want don't come to fruition. They don't happen. And one of the biggest problems that I've had, and I've always had this issue of, how do I make time for my own personal growth? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses this issue so many times throughout the Quran, but I'm going to talk to you about one of the verses that Allah mentions that really clarifies and crystallizes for us what this means. Okay, so in this session, inshallah, we're going to be talking about how to create the best and most efficient life based on a number of different things, 4 things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches us through the Quran and the Sunnah. And so the first thing that I want you to think about is, you have to be intentional about the time that you have. Like the hadith that I mentioned, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Indeed, actions are determined by what you intend behind them. What is behind the actions is your intentions, those things that you've decided. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Asr, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ. And by time, Allah swears by time, indeed man is in a state of loss. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Except those who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the tenets of faith, and those who take action, the right action, the righteous deeds. وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. The righteous deeds. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us right at the beginning, time is yours. Allah swears by the time. What time is this? This is your life. Allah is swearing by your time, because time does not matter to you if it is someone else's time. What really matters to you is your time. You will pay someone else to spend their time on doing things for you rather than you doing it, just so that you can save your time to do something else. Time is the most important thing. You give away your wealth in order to get more time. That's, throughout human history, we have done that. So what is the first thing Allah points us towards? Become intentional about your time. What do you spend your time on? If you become intentional about the time that you have, you only have 24 hours. And some of the most amazing people that have ever lived or are living right now, that you and I look up to, when we look at them and we think they do amazing things, how do they do those things? They have 24 hours, they have 7 days a week, they have 12 months a year, they have the same 24 hours that you have and I have. So how do they do it? They manage their life. So it's not about time management, it's about managing your life. If you manage your life, then you're able to allocate to that the 24 hours that you have. So you need to sleep, you need to work, you need to do things, and you need your own time so you can have spiritual growth. So that growth that you want, that personal growth that you need, you can't achieve that unless you focus time on it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, but when Allah swears by time, swears by my time and your time, Allah is telling us that you will be in a state of loss unless you, 1, believe in Allah and the tenets of faith, and 2, you take the right actions. So you can't take the right actions unless you become intentional. So that's point number 1. Now, point number 2 is, you have to decide on what it is that you want. How do you decide? You look at the things that are most important to you. If you do not sit down and take pen to paper and write down what is most important to you, then you won't be able to see it. Now, for you to really organize yourself and carve your life out so that it is the life that you want, meaning that you fulfill your responsibilities, you raise your family, you serve your community, you do all the things that you've committed to, but most importantly, you focus on creating time for yourself. You create time for yourself so you can grow yourself. So how do you do that? You have to decide on what is important to you. If you don't decide today that personal growth and spiritual growth and your family growth and your relationships and your work, and if you don't decide on all of these things which are important to you, then how will you focus your time on it? You won't give it the time, because the thing that consumes your mind, whatever your mind is dominated by, those thoughts, like, you will give all of your time to that. And in order for you to get the best out of your time, because we've all got 24 hours, in order to get the best out of your time, you need to decide on what those important things are. Now, once you've decided that, then you can allocate it the time that you have. But you have to decide first. No one ever achieves anything amazing by accident. It doesn't happen. Nothing happens by accident. Like, sure, everything is the qadr of Allah. Allah has decreed everything. And you know, like, something good or something bad happens, and everyone says, well, actually, they only say it when something bad happens. They say, oh, qadr Allah. Qadr Allah, like, it is the decree of Allah. Yes, it is the decree of Allah. But you and I, we have influence over our lives. Allah has given us the intellect so that we can take control of our time and our lives, and then whatever transpires in our lives, whatever happens, whatever comes to fruition, whatever we achieve, that is the qadr of Allah. If I sit back and I do nothing, and then things just happen, and then I turn around and say, and I don't like it, and I just turn around and say, oh, qadr Allah, like, that's what Allah decreed. No, Allah decreed that only because I didn't do anything. So the way to change that is make a decision on what you want. Decide on the things that are important to you. And if you do that, then inshallah ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless you in your time, and that will become the qadr of Allah. So the third point, and this is actually a really important point, and so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Zumar, Inna anzalna ilayka al-kitaba bil-haq. Indeed, we have revealed the book to you, O Muhammad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then Allah says, فَعْبُدُ اللَّهَ مُخْلِصًا لَهُ الدِّينَ. Like, so worship Allah in sincerity. Worship Allah in sincerity, for Him is the deen. The deen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the word, the deen here. And so the third point is, like, accept Islam wholeheartedly. Like, you have to enter into it like 100%. If you're 50-50 or 90-10, and you're 90% in and 10% not in, then you won't get the best of the guidance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that indeed I've revealed this book to you, and this is the truth. This is the guidance. This is the thing that will give you, like, absolute efficiency in your life. This Quran will show you the way to live your life best. And in it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, fa'budullah, worship Allah. That's the most important thing. Once you've accepted it, then worship Him. Once you've come into it wholeheartedly, worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, lahuddin. For Him is this religion. Now, Islam is a way of life. A deen, the word deen, is a way of life. It's not a religion like the religions of the world. Like, it's a complete system of life. Allah has given us the Quran as a manual, a guide, a how-to book, so that you know how to live your life so you can get the best out of your life. So if you accept Islam wholeheartedly, meaning that you enter into it, meaning you obey the commands and you stay away from those things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prohibited, then ultimately you will get the best out of your time, because Allah has already organized for you your life. Allah has shown you throughout the Quran, Allah shows us throughout the Quran and Sunnah how to get the best out of our lives, how to get the best out of our times, and what to spend our times on, so we know what to prioritize and what not to prioritize. So this is a system of life. If you're half-half, if you're 50-50, you're always going to be like coming forward and going backwards, coming forward and going backwards, and you won't feel as though you're getting anywhere, because you will sabotage yourself by only following half the guidance. Look, this book is not for the hereafter. The Quran is for the dunya. It's a guidance for that journey. It's like a map that will take you from the beginning of life to the end of life. So if you follow it wholeheartedly, Allah organizes your time and your life all the areas of your life and all of the phases of our lives. So if you enter into it like wholeheartedly, then worship Allah and make that a system of life. And what I mean by entering into it wholeheartedly is simply that we accompany the guide. That Quran is in our lives daily. We read it, we understand it, we apply it. And if we don't live it and we don't apply it, then where is the guidance going to come from? How do you know what to prioritize and what's more important, what's not? So let's get on to the final point. And this is focus. Because whatever you focus on grows. Whatever you focus on will become something more than what it is already. Like if you have a seed and you plant it in your garden, but you plant it in the shade, the sun doesn't hit it, the likelihood is it won't grow, or it won't grow to its full potential, even if it grows a little bit, right? Now, if you put it in the area of your garden where the sun is always shining, then the likelihood is that it will grow and it will grow to full fruition. So just like that, our focus has to go on the things that we want to grow in our lives. And that takes us right back to the first point of being intentional. You have to be intentional about where you plant your seeds. You have to be intentional about what choices you're making. If you decide that family relations is of the highest importance to you, then you have to focus on it. If you don't focus on it, it will never grow. If you decide that your personal growth and your personal spiritual growth is important to you, and it should be, then you will focus on it and it will grow and you will become amazing in that area of your life. But if you don't focus on it, then it will never grow. So time management in Islam is not all about just organizing your time, because organizing your time is not enough. Like, you need to be intentional about your life. You need to decide on what those things are that you really want in your life. Those things that you really want to flourish in, those things that you want to grow. Because if you don't put your focus on those things now, your time will be gone. Your time will go, and before you know it, time has flown by and you're thinking, I wanted this and I wanted that. But these were just thoughts. You didn't put it on paper. You didn't decide. You didn't take action. You didn't commit to it wholeheartedly. And if you don't focus on it, then in the end, you won't get what you want. But you can change everything. Don't feel as though you can't change it. You can do it. All you have to do is become intentional about it. Decide what you want. Like, what is it that is important to you? What do you want in a year's time, in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time? Like, decide now what you want to see in your life in 10 years. And once you've decided on those things, then work backwards and start to organize your time and focus on those things. Take small steps, but move towards those things. And inshallah ta'ala, you will get the best out of your time. You will grow personally, you will grow financially, you will grow spiritually. And most importantly, inshallah, if you focus your time on your purpose, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you the keys to paradise through the work that you do, through the decisions that you make, through the focus that you give to your deen. So I'm going to leave you with that. But if you want more information on this subject of time management, life management, go to QuranicConnection.tv/time management. And inshallah, you will find a whole list of things that you could do to improve your life and really get the best out of your time and the best out of your energy, because that is really, really important. And inshallah, I will see you in the next video. JazakAllahu khair. If you like the tips here, please subscribe to the channel, share it with those who you think will benefit. My goal with this entire program is to help us to master our lives and become the very people that we were created to be. JazakAllahu khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.